If you're in the AI space, whether as a business owner or as an agency, you've probably heard the term AIOS or AI operating system thrown about lately. Now, for a business owner or even an AI agency that's never come across this before, it can feel quite daunting, and that's exactly what I'm going to explain in this video, what an AIOS is and how it can benefit your business. Now, let me start with the problem, because I think most of you will recognize at least a few of these. So if you're a business owner, you might find that you use ChatGPT regularly, but every time you start a new conversation, it starts from zero or practically zero with only a little bit of context that you've used from other chats. You find that your team keeps on relying for you to make decisions, and it delays the process of things happening in your business. You find yourself checking dashboards every day for data and metrics, and 80% of your time goes on working in the business rather than on the business. Overall, you feel like AI has been useful to your business, but you don't know how to implement a real system behind it. And there is a fix to all that, which is the AI operating system, and exactly what I'm going to be explaining in the following slides. An AIOS is a layer of AI that wraps around your whole business. It knows your context, your data, your goals, your operations, and anything that is important to you that you use every day. So probably what you're using on the left as a business owner is ChatGPT every day, which doesn't have any real memory, has no context really of your business, and you're pretty much starting from zero every time. And AIOS, on the other hand, it knows your business, it sees all of your live data, and over time, it actually gets smarter the more it learns your business. So what is actually the result of this? You basically have a second brain that watches everything in your business 24/7. So how does it actually work? The AIOS is built in 5 separate layers, each of which build on each other. Layer 1 is context, and this is where you teach AI, or Claude Code specifically, everything about your business. This can be your strategy, your goals, your history, your operation, anything that's related to the context of your business. Layer 2 is data, and this is where your AIOS connects to your live numbers. So think things like your CRM or your pipeline or your meeting notes, or maybe your operational data, your website traffic, any data that your business uses regularly, your AIOS taps into. Layer 3 is intelligence, and this is where your AIOS actually does something with all that context and data. Every morning, it pulls that data and context together to give you a daily brief on your business and what needs your attention. The 4th layer is the automate layer, and this is where you map out all of the different manual tasks your business still has, and you knock them off one by one and automate them with AI. These could be tasks like generating a proposal or generating quotes or preparing content like I do for YouTube. And each time you tick off one of these tasks that you still do on a manual basis, this frees up your bandwidth and allows you to actually work on the business. Which leads us on to layer 5, which is build. Once you've automated all the processes that you can in your business, you've now freed up a load of time to allow you to actually work on growing the business. So this allows you to focus on things like strategy, sales, client relationships, anything that you need as a business owner to actually grow the business. So let's go through each one individually. And like I said, the first one is context. And this is where you teach your AI everything about your business. You teach it what you sell, who your clients are, how you operate, what your strategy is, all the different teams you might have, what your operations look like. And once you set up this layer successfully, every time that you interact with your AIOS, Claude walks into every session and it's briefed on everything about your business. Layer 2 is data. And like I said, this is where your AIOS connects to all of your live numbers. Layer 2 is data. And this is where your AIOS connects to all of your live data sources. After you set up this layer, you're going to have automated collectors, which is going to pull data from things like your CRM, your meeting notes, your calendar, your website traffic, any data that you use as a business every day. And once you set this up, you'd be able to ask your AIOS something like, how's the pipeline looking? Or who do I need to follow up with in our CRM? And you'll actually be able to get a real context-driven answer. Layer 3 is intelligence, and for most business owners, this is where they find the AIOS really brings a lot of value. The idea here is that your AIOS doesn't wait for you to ask questions. Every morning at 7:30, say, a daily brief is delivered to you on your phone. This means that instead of you as a business owner pulling from all the different data sources that you usually would spend hours every morning doing just to keep up to scratch, now, before you've even had your first coffee in the morning, you've got a daily brief of everything that you need to do. You've got things like your key signals, your meeting summaries, sales intelligence, any prep you need to do for discovery calls. And this is delivered to you on your phone, either through Telegram or Slack, your choice, and you get to read this every morning. Layer 4 is automate, and this is where you start recovering some serious time. What you do in this layer is you complete a task audit of mapping out all of the different manual processes your business still has, and then you begin automating each of these one by one. So some running examples that you might have are a qualified list of leads that get delivered to you every morning that you can outreach to. Or you maybe get proposals generated in minutes from meeting transcripts that you've had from the day before. Or maybe you get CRM updates from plain English Telegram messages that your team has been having. So these are examples of all things that can be automated that you as business might do, but this is going to be specific to you on a business by business basis. Layer 5 is build, and this is the whole point of actually building the first 4 layers. Layers 1 through 4 give you back the time, but layer 5 is actually what you do with that time now that you've got it back. Now that you're not checking dashboards, writing follow-ups, creating proposals, this is where you actually have the time back in your pocket to do the really important things like finding new clients or working on new offers or new products or developing a new strategy for the business. And at this point, you're working on the business rather than in the business, which is where a lot of business owners find themselves today. Now, you might be wondering, how is it actually delivered as an agency owner? And there are 2 ways you can deliver this. One is through a local workspace, so literally running it on your own machine, and you have these files backed up to GitHub. And the other is a VPS, a virtual private server. Now, I would say setting up on a local workspace is probably where you want to start as a beginner. And this is best for if you're delivering for small teams or some tech comfortable owners. The other option is the VPS, which is where you run this AI operating system on a cloud server. And this way, you don't need to have a laptop that's always running on that acts as the server. This is just stored up in the cloud 24/7. Now, both options work. It just depends how many people want to be using the AI operating system at any given time. Now, as a business owner, you might be thinking, how do I actually interact with my AI operating system? And there's 2 ways you can do this. One is through your laptop or your desktop, and the other is through your phone when you're on the go. If you're interacting it through your laptop, you can interact with it either through an IDE, so something like VS Code or Cursor, or you can actually do it directly through the Claude Code desktop app if you want. So if you're interacting with your AIOS on your laptop, it's going to look something like this. And it seems scary at first, but trust me, once you set it up, you get used to it. So this is what an IDE is. This is VS Code. And this is what it kind of looks like once you set up your full AI operating system. And if I wanted to ask my AI operating something like, what's going on around my operations team, I could just type it into this terminal here. What are the current projects I've got going on and what are the updates that you need to give me on them? And I could go and then send this off to my AI operating system and I get back a context-driven answer as it knows about all of my current projects that I'm working on. Now, the other way is through your phone. So you would load up Telegram on your phone, which once is all connected, and you could literally either send a voice message or a text to a bot that we would set up through Telegram, and it would connect to your AI operating system that way. And you can also do this through Slack. If you're an agency owner that's thinking about how do you actually deliver and structure this, this is what I'd recommend. I'd recommend that you charge a setup fee to actually design and build the full AI operating system for a business. And then you actually set up a monthly retainer, which is where you keep everything running, updated, and make sure it runs smoothly. And as part of this monthly retainer, what you actually want to do is be there available for add-ons when the business wants to add a new skill or integration or any new modules on request. If you're a business owner watching this and you want to explore if you could potentially build an AIOS for your business, then I actually offer free discovery calls. We'll look at your specific setup, figure out how we'll actually deliver and implement this into your business, and I'll show you exactly what a system like this could look like for your business. If you want to book a discovery call, there is a link in my description to do that. If you're more in the learning and building phase right now, either as a business owner or as an agency owner, I have this free template and all the other resources from all of my other videos available in my free school community. Again, link is in the description. If you found this video useful, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps me out a bunch. And let me know in the comments of any tutorials that you want. That's all from me. So thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.